In this video, we are going to be blending 4 elements to create a vibrant design inside of Canva, and everything is going to be explained from start to finish. So make sure you stick to the end. Let's dive straight into Canva and let's get started. Now, before we even get into it, I just want to let you know that to have access to the elements I'm going to use, check the link in the description box below, because I've been able to link it there to make it easy for you to follow this tutorial. Okay, so as you have it opened, I believe you have it open by now. The first thing, let's just create a new page. So we have this new page created, and the first thing we are simply going to do is to bring in the sky. Okay, so we just have the sky in here, and we'll just position it somewhere here and also increase the size. Okay, yeah, very easy and very simple. Now, the second thing I want us to do is to add, this shape over here. Okay, and this is what we have at the moment. Now, the main element is going to be this. Okay, so we just copy, come here and paste. All right. Now, since we have it here, we'll reduce the size of this a little bit and we'll just position it over here. It's a car. So that's the whole idea. Now press C on the keyboard for a circle and increase the size a little bit. And this can be positioned here. We want the circle to be behind the car. Okay, so you can just right click on the circle and come to layer. You should see show layers. Okay, click on show layers and move this below. All right, so that's what we simply need to do. Now, I want us to change the color of this. So we'll just come to color, then come to add a new color, and the color code I am simply going to use is FFB800. Okay, that's the color code we are going to be using. So we have it created, and I think, yeah, that's good to go. Now, we can see as we've added this shape, it goes behind the circle. So we want to also bring this forward. So we come to layer, come to show layers, and move this on top. Okay. So now that we have this on top, even before I do any changes, I'll create duplicates, okay, of it. Then we just position it this over here, rotate it anyhow you want it, and we can also duplicate this as well. Okay. Then we just flip it horizontally, position this here and increase the size a little bit. Now you can see what we have over here as well. So this is what I want us to have over here. Now, the other thing I want us to do is we can, in fact, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Then you can duplicate the shape and change the color. Okay. So duplicate it, change the color to white, and just do what I'm doing. So we can see we are trying to make it narrow, and I reduce the size a little bit and position this here, duplicate it, can put another one here, reduce the size depending on how you want things to look like. We have another one over here. We can do another one over here. So you see, very easy and very simple. Okay. Yeah. So now with this particular one, we can also increase the size. Okay. Just increase the size and we should have something like this. Interesting. Then we would also do the same for this particular one. So also position this here, increase the size, and just move it in, like that. Then we would add our text. Okay. So to add your text, you can press T on the keyboard and would add a text. And my text, I'm going to say something simple, which is the summer. So I'll just say summer and I'll increase the size. Okay. So now we just have to change the font. Okay. So come to Poppins and you can search for Golfs. So GLF, I think Golfs display. Okay. So that's it. Golfs display. And this is what we have at the moment. Come to effect, have your text selected, come to effect, choose outline. Okay. And increase your outline. Now we are going to add an orange. Okay, so the orange I'm going to use, in fact, let's click on color, come to add a new color, and I will paste it over here. The orange I'm going to use is FF7300. Okay, then we would also change the color, the black color, to this yellow. Okay, so we come here and change it to this, and you see the vibe we are getting. So now that we are done, we can just duplicate this and say vacation to vacation. All right. and I'm going to change both text to uppercase. So we'll just select both text. Once you see, then we come to this icon we have over here and just click on it, and we have it beautiful. Or you can keep all lowercase. So it means I will just change this to summer. Okay, small letter. And I also change this to a small v. Then we have something like that. Okay. Now, the other thing I want us to do is to bend this to add some curves. So you come to effect again. Once you scroll down, you should see what we call curve. Okay. So click on it, and that is what we have at the moment. Now, with this particular one, make sure you have just one of the words selected. So I will reduce the curve a little bit so that this can go in as well. Okay. And the position I want it to be centered. So let's come to position, come to arrange, center. Okay. And have or make sure the circle is also centered. Okay. Make sure everything is centered. Okay. Yeah. So this vacation as well, we'll just go back to the text and curve, sorry, effect and curve. And, we'll just do some slight adjustment to it. I think everything is just at the top. So I just bring this down so that I can have enough space. Okay. Then we'll move this up, the skies. Okay. So we have this. Then summer can also be here. Come to effects and also, adjust the curves a little bit. Okay. Okay. So I don't want these leaves to be behind. I want them to be in front. So let's come to layer, come to show layers, and we'll move them to the top. Okay. This particular one, okay, this is it. So we also move it to the front, and this is what we have at the moment. Now, to make everything blend nicely, in fact, let me make this one bigger. Yeah. Let me make it bigger and also make this a little, yeah. So to make everything blend nicely, I'll select this car and change the colors. Okay. So I'll change it to the orange we have. So something like this should be fine. Or we can even use maybe another version of the orange. So maybe a darker orange, a little bit. Okay. Shouldn't be too dark. Yeah. So something like this is fine. And we see how beautiful things are looking. Now with the same shape we've done with this, we can also duplicate. Okay. Bring it here and change the color to black. Okay, so to black, and I would want to stretch it out. Okay, but make it also thin and position it over here. Okay, so I think we are getting somewhere finally. Now with this shape we have over here, we are also going to change the color, to make it maybe either yellow or any color you want. Okay, and that's where we are going to have our information. But before we even add information, let's add these birds. Okay, so you can position them somewhere here and see how beautiful this is looking. So let's go down a little bit and move this here. Okay, let's go down. Let's add some shapes. So press R on the keyboard for a rectangle, and we're going to change the color of this to match the green leaves. So you can choose any of the greens over here. Okay, so we have this here, and we'll bend it a little bit by adding, no, we would add some curves, not bend. Okay, so add some corner roundings. Okay, and this is what we have. Then we'll just add some, simple text. So assuming it's an event or, some sort of outing, we'll just say today is Wednesday. So I'll use today's date. So I'll say Wednesday, to Wednesday, 4th March 2026. Okay, so this is what I have. Make it all caps and also change the font to, sorry, the font color to white. Okay, then we'll make it bold, and we can also increase the size. Now, the spacing is too much for me, so I can also come here and choose reduce line spacing. And this is what we currently have at the moment. Now, this is what we have. Let's duplicate it, bring it down here, and we would remove the bold from it. And we'll just add some slight text, maybe the time, maybe 12. You can see 12 p.m. Okay, to 2 o'clock p.m. That's what we want to have. Reduce it and center it. So I'll click on position, come to arrange and click on center just to center this information. Okay, I'll just make it tight. All right. Now we want to add just something small. Okay, some extra text, maybe location and some few other things that may be necessary. So to do this, we can just duplicate this, okay, and increase and just say you can add the location. So I'll just say any street, any location. Okay, that's what we can say over here. And I'm going to change the color, okay, just so it stands out. So we can choose a brown from the trees. Okay, the brown we have from the trees. That's what I would use over here. And I feel it's too plain. So I'll add the location icon. To come to element and search for location, and you should see any of the icons. So you can just choose the one you want. Okay. So this is what we have. We'll reduce it, position it here, change the color to green. Okay. Then we'll just position this here nicely. Okay. Yeah. Then the next thing, in fact, I'll reduce this slightly. The next thing we'll do is to add some element to say, let's say free tickets. Okay. So to do this, I would duplicate this particular text. Okay, bring it here. In fact, let me zoom in more and let's adjust the corner rounding. Okay. Now duplicate it and bring this here. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll change the color of this one to white. So to white, select the two and make sure they are all centered. Okay. Now we simply want to say free tickets and a website. Okay. So free tickets, then we'll reduce this over here and make sure it's fitting nicely. Okay. So we have it here like this. Select this and move it here. Then we can take off the board from this. Okay, so you take off the board, duplicate it and bring it over here. Now with this, we can keep it, green. I think green should work. Okay. And this can be white. You understand? Just to make it easily readable. All right. So now with this one, we're going to add a website. So I'll just say www.reallegreatsite.com. Okay. Then we'll just increase it and just make everything look sweet and presentable over here. And maybe this can also be reduced. So 3 tickets we have it here, and we have this also over here. So now we just need to make sure everything is looking compact. Okay. So this is what we currently have. Now to avoid moving the shape, okay, let's click on it and lock it so that when we select, we can, have everything looking nice. Now I can see the space below is not enough. So we can move things up slightly just to have like enough space. Okay. And we'll unlock the shape, bring it here, and maybe we can just put in, some text to say for more activities, just a text to spice things up. Okay. So more activities to be enjoyed when you join us. Okay. So we can just say something like this, and we would also keep it the way it is and just reduce everything over here. Let's center this and keep it here like that. Okay, so you can see what we have been able to create. Very vibrant. We didn't need a lot of elements and all these fancy stuff. We've been able to do something beautiful, and I hope you enjoyed following through on creating this tutorial. The name is Benjamin, and always remember, look, like and subscribe first of all if you enjoy this, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.